There is a book out on the Mariners, and it seems like everybody's reading it. Welcome to the Dom Skiing channel, your one-stop shop for the Mariners storylines on Seattle's minds. And the Mariners win 3-2 as the Kansas City Royals come out with the exact approach that we said they would in the pregame. They came out with all the sliders in the world. The Kansas City Royals, right, starting with Noah Cameron, pitches, starts the game for them. 21 sliders to 20 fastballs, 17 curves, 15 changeups, 7 cutters. All sorts of sliders. And I was at this game, I was just saying, every single out for about 3 innings felt like it was on a slider. Then John Schreiber follows, 13 sweepers, 4 four-seamers, and 2 cutters. Angel Zerpa comes up next, big lefty, 6 sliders to 3 sinkers. And then Steven Cruz, 3 four-seamers, 3 sliders, 3 cutters. So then finally, Taylor Clark, 5 sliders, 3 changeups, 2 four-seamers. The Royals said, hey, every single pitcher tonight, go use predominantly sliders. And that's what they did. Not a single pitcher threw any pitch more than they threw their slider for the Kansas City Royals against the Seattle Mariners tonight. And that is a pretty bizarre anomaly in the stats, in the pitch mix. But it might not be such of one because we've been saying for a long time that the easy blueprint against the Mariners is throw them a bunch of sliders. They hit the fastball well, they're sitting on it, looking for it, and they don't hit the slider well. Namely, our guy Julio Rodriguez. Man, I mean, there is a book out on Julio worse than any of these other books. Because all they have to do is throw him sliders down and away, and he strikes out. Tonight he does go 1 for 4, get the ribby. However, some kind of ugly strikeouts and leaving quite a few runners on base as well. The good thing about Julio, hits the ball harder than anybody in the league, on this planet, really. He hits a liner straight at Michael Garcia, who it bounces off of his glove, goes behind him. Then Bobby Witt has to scramble to pick it up. And everybody's safe on that. Julio did have another chance, though, with the bases loaded. I think he got a slider first pitch and just popped it up. So that's the book on Julio, sliders. That's the book on the Mariners lineup as a whole, sliders. They work. So although we do win this game by the skin of our teeth, 3-2, and we played some very, very good small ball to win this game. I do not want to discount that. It is worrying that teams are just coming out and having every single pitcher throw predominantly sliders against us. But in these hot summer months, if we can't crush some of those breaking balls and put those into the seats, we're going to have trouble. So the main thing that I want to see us do for the next week is hit the slider. Moving over, so Noah Cameron goes 4.2 innings, as does Logan Gilbert. Both starting pitchers 4.2 innings only. Neither could get it out of the 5th inning. Noah Cameron, who we talked about the pitch mix, 4 hits, no earned runs, 5 strikeouts to 1 walk, and only gets hit hard 3 times, as Logan Gilbert also only gets hit hard 3 times. He goes 4.2, 1 earned run on 3 hits, 7 strikeouts to 3 walks, though. So Logan, again, more of what we saw the first 3 times back from injury for him. Not getting a quality start yet, not going very long. The pitch count really getting up there early, but he is getting a lot of strikeouts. Walking a few guys, allowing a few runs, so there is a little bit of rust. But it is what it is. Logan Gilbert is one of the predominant strikeout pitchers in the game, and we hope that he can go longer. But right now, when Logan Gilbert doesn't go long, this is kind of where things get a little bit mucky for him, because he doesn't go super long because he's battling with hitters, getting deep into counts, and trying to push for the strikeouts. And that is what's happening. We've seen it happen before, and we've seen his ERA skyrocket with bad stretches. But right now, there's reason to believe that this is just kind of him coming back from injury and easing back into things. However, it is funny that there is no better way to explain Logan Gilbert, that the way that he's going to ease back into things is by pushing for strikeouts more. But he has remained with taking a few ticks off of the fastball. He's throwing about a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, really sitting around 94 in this game, especially in the earlier innings. Although he can pump it up when he needs to. I think he likes having a little more command with it, as he mentioned in spring training. and has been a storyline throughout the year for him. So Noah Cameron, 10 swinging strikes on 80 pitches, nothing super money, but that changeup 5 on 15, that's kind of pretty money. Then 4 on 21 sliders. You can get the Mariners with those 2 pitches, sliders, changeups. It's the book on us. Cruz, 2 swing strikes on 3 sliders. So nasty slider for him. We'll just cover the slider for each of these guys. 2 on 5 for Taylor Clark. Man, this data is rich with Mariners swinging and missing on sliders. I know it's starting to sound like a broken record, but all the data just keeps pointing back to it. Rarely do you see the data point so clearly towards one thing, and this data just points to that we couldn't hit the slider. Talk about how we managed to win this game on offense in a minute. First of all, Logan Gilbert, 13 swinging strikes on 95 pitches. That part of the arsenal looks great. The swing and miss, still there. Again, Logan, as he's coming back from injury, he's pushing extra hard for strikeouts to try to ease back into things, which is, that's just exactly the way that Logan Gilbert works. And funny enough, right? All the Royals pitchers we talk about using sliders, Logan Gilbert goes 47 sliders to 26 four-seam fastballs, then 17 splitters and 5 curves. So Logan joined in on the fun and said, hey, it's slider night at Safeco Field, or T-Mobile Park, I guess. He gets 6 swinging strikes on 47 sliders. So 2 bad offenses, both with similar predicaments in certain ways, and both are just getting eaten alive by that slider. 2 on 26 four-seamers, not great for Logan. Did take the ticks off on the velocity, so you have to think that was the setup pitch or something. Then 4 on 17 splitters. He got a bunch of really nice knockout strike threes on that splitter. Then 1 on 5 curveballs. So, Logan, all signs point to him progressing and getting everything back moving forward. Spire, then. What was his dominant pitch on the night? You guessed it, slider. And I remember watching this inning. He was just pumping sliders. 4 swinging strikes on 8 sliders. Everybody's slider was the best it was tonight, both on the Mariners and the Royals. I don't know when you can say something so plainly that sums up, the baseball savant metrics. Then Vargas, finally, the first pitcher that we look at on this, on the player breakdowns, to not throw predominantly sliders. He goes 8 sinkers, 8 cutters, 3 sliders. Gets 1 swinging strike on 8 sinkers, but then gets 1 on just 3 sliders. So, again, if you had to point to one being his best pitch, it would probably be that. Then Matt Brash, he is the slider king. So, obviously, there's no question about this. He ends up throwing 4 changeups, too. The Matt Brash changeup thing is so interesting because now that he's throwing this, it used to not be a changeup. Now, since he's out of this changeup, it's 2 really weird sliders, one which gets classified as the knuckle curve, and then the changeup, and then, a few sinkers mixed in there, but he only threw 3 of those, 13 sliders, 4 changeups, and a knuckle curve. Just 3 swinging strikes on 21, 2 on the 4 changeups, then 1 on the 13 sliders. But even that changeup for Matt Brash, when I was watching that pitch, it moves like a slider. It looks totally like a slider. So, I thought at first maybe StatCast was, having an error classifying that as a changeup, but I guess it's a changeup. But really it feels like it's just a third type of slider, and they need to break them up. And they're not sweepers that Matt Brash throws. It's just 3, a slider, and then 2 really weird ones that they call a changeup and a knuckle curve. And he did allow his first run of the year, but still at a sterling 0.5 ERA. It was bound to happen eventually, and kind of a frustrating way to have it happen here for Matt Brash, in a really close game in a tough situation. Then Munoz, 7 sliders, 7 four-seamers, 1 sinker, 2 on 7 sliders, 1 on 7 fastballs, and then none on the 1 sinker. But 3 on 15 overall, 20% elite. Closer status for Munoz. So the pitching, this is just the ultimate slider game. If we refer back to game 86, we're going to be talking about the ultimate slider game. Then now moving on to the offense, we talked about Julio a little bit. Randy Arozarena has now he had 8 home runs coming into this week. Now within this week, within just the first 24 innings of this week, he hit half of the home runs that he did in the first 83 games of the season combined. So when we say the homers were due for Randy and they come in bunches, this is exactly what we're talking about. He's now up to 4 in 3 days on the week. He goes 2 for 3, adds that homer, which really got us back into this, and that was, that gave us the spark of life that we needed after Kansas City drew first blood in the top of the first. It was just annoying to look at the scoreboard all game, and then you have Randy just, man, solo shot straight to center field. He's just so strong. He can just muscle it out of there when he needs to. And they come in bunches, so very optimistic to see, Randy hitting at that 3 spot with Cal out tonight, getting the day off. Also, I did see Cal Raleigh today. He was at Evergreen's University Village doing a meet and greet, and I ended up there actually by coincidence. I didn't even know what was going on, so hilarious there. But I saw Cal Raleigh in the flesh, man. He is really trying his best to be like a humble, regular guy, but everybody he is such a superstar. It's just so funny how down to earth and humble he is, while also being, such an A-list celebrity in the city. And just by chance, the fact that I saw him at Evergreen's University Village today, doing the meet and greet there, was pretty funny. Ben Williamson also goes 1 for 2. His average is now up to 258. And Ben Williamson, if you were to take him out of this lineup and replace him with a really like a power hitting third baseman that's a little more prototypical, like Gino that Mariners fans are thinking about, I'm not sure what message that sends to the team, because this is the scrappiest guy who protects everybody else in the lineup. And say what you want about Gino, he is not protecting the rest of this lineup the way that Ben Williamson is. Especially, to have guys like that low in the order, even when they're not hitting well, they're putting together these long at-bats and really battling. It gives me a sense of security as to, our big guys don't have to be, making acts of magic every single night. And sometimes we can win a game like this just with some small ball. We out-hit the Royals 8-6 in this one, 225 to 188 on a hot day. In expected batting average, you would think that those would be much higher. Hard hit rates are very low. Each starter, Noah Cameron and Gilbert, only give up 3 hard hits. Just not a lot of hard hits overall. A lot of sliders, hit poorly for fly ball outs, ground ball outs, namely fly ball outs. In particular, Michael Garcia had 2 that off the bat I thought were gone. Neither of them ended up being homers. The ball was dying tonight in a weird way. It wasn't as hot as the last 2 days, but still hot in its own right. I thought the ball would travel similar to those days, but today the ball was dying on the warning track quite a bit. And that's why we only saw the 1 homer in the game from Randy, which was just over that center field wall. Just all of Randy's, just classic Randy power, strength, pure strength, as opposed to like a golf shot, which is, what a lot of guys, you're really whipping the bat around. Randy is just, it's strength, man. Then JP also goes 2 for 3. Shout out to him with a double as well. But Randy is just absolutely red hot. The OPS up to 800, the average up to 252. And Randy now, close to the AL lead in walks. The Savant page is starting to look awesome. Starting to get really red with all these stats coming in. So Randy is putting together a really good year. He has been for a while. He's the most unselfish player on this team. Protects the top of that lineup like nobody else. He's protected Cal so much by being the walk threat that he has, and so is JP. It just gives Cal so much room because they have to pitch to him, a lot of the time, because then, you've got Randy coming up right after him, who's almost a guaranteed walk when he really, really wants it. He could just stretch those pitchers thin and almost make them submit. Just to see that plate discipline from Randy this year shows me that as he becomes a veteran and moves off from being a young guy, I think his skill set is going to age like fine wine. And I'm glad that we have him for it. Solano didn't get a hit, but that's all right. Rayleigh came in, didn't get a hit, but that's all right. That first Blaze platoon has been awesome recently, and one bad night of it is not going to change anything. Really, when you have the massive performances you have from it recently, you take everything with a grain of salt. These guys are not, these guys are not the best platoon ever, but they're a damn good one, and they show that like their ceiling's way up here. They can win you the game, with, they have the skill sets that kind of complement each other and complement this team. And then, the floor is debatable. And the floor obviously bottomed out pretty early. One got injured and one, just was hitting terribly. But it's come up, and we have no choice but to roll with it for now. Jorge has just been ice cold as well, down to a 245 batting average, under 250. We'll see what happens with Jorge. You could have an interesting decision to make. If you really do want to add a bat at the deadline, are Jorge, Garver, and the name that I hear the most about being floated about somebody you may have to DFA is the longest tenured Mariner, who also didn't get a hit tonight. Dylan Moore struck out in his 2 at-bats. But I don't know the message that you send by getting rid of Dylan Moore, the longest tenured Mariner. A guy who has as many, the only person who is as many games with a sock and a shoe, which is a homer and a stolen base, in the last bunch of years. For a while it was this. I don't know if it's still just these two, but it was Ronald Acuna and Dylan Moore. So as far as power, speed, bench utility guys, we've picked him over Haggerty. We've picked him over a lot of these guys, and we've continued to do so. And now is not the time to get rid of him, I don't think. He is such a prototypical good utility guy. I do think he's a safe option. And yeah, Randy getting red hot. That's just a big bat in the middle of the order coming to life in a way where he's been productive at the plate, even if his bat hasn't been red hot. He's been drying all those walks. Then finally, I want to talk about this 7th inning, because after Randy brings the offense to life with that solo shot in the 6th, in the 7th inning, bottom of the 7th, you managed to get 2 runs and you win this game. You ended up needing both of them because the Royals then get one back in the 8th too off Brash. But those 7th inning 2 runs, you get it through bunting, sack flying, Julio hitting the ball really hard at the third baseman, and bobble and confusion, and it's just the most gritty small ball that you could ask for. So massive credit to Ben Williamson, Cole Young, and then Julio for finishing that one off. Absolutely, that's exactly what you want to see on a night where the ball is not flying as much. And luckily, we win this game 3-2. We go tomorrow with a chance to win the series 3-1, and at least guarantee ourselves the series split. So I will be talking to you guys tomorrow after we have another night game, the rare 4-game series of all night games. So I'll talk to you guys then. That being said, I have been your boy Dom Skeen, your one-stop shop for the Mariners storylines on Seattle's Minds, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. Go M's.